hadn't seen me for a long time, and my grandmother Lesha was here from Israel, and my aunt was staying with us, and my sister came out, like, everyone's like, Morty's here, he's in town, like, you know, best food, best, it's just the king, you know, everyone wants to spoil you. It's amazing, yeah? By the way, the most challenging time for a man when he doesn't feel a king is the day after he's had a baby. She's had a baby, I've had a baby. It's the most difficult, challenging time. I don't know how to bring this into the session because it wasn't expected, but it's exactly the opposite of what we're discussing. Because he is a nothing. He's an absolute nothing, right? She has gone through turmoil and on this process where our body becomes like, you know, on show everywhere, and the doctors and nurses and everything, and then the baby comes, and imagine a little boy comes and there's going to be a Brit, right? Everyone's so excited, his mother's excited about the baby, the grandmother excited, nobody cares about him. He's got no sympathy. The woman is so tired and exhausted, she can't even breathe without feeling pain, right? How is she going to be able to make him feel like a king? It's just not going to happen for another 10 weeks. She's out of action. Yeah? And the focus is all on the baby, and it's a very challenging time intimacy-wise from the halakha. So there's really no sympathy that he's going to get. It's a really challenging time, and every woman, every man should know that, because it creates a strain in the relationship. And man wants to be polite, so he doesn't say anything, and he lives through it, he immerses himself in his work. It's very challenging. Yeah? So bear that in mind. But it's exactly the point. He needs the opposite of that to go on all the time during the normal everyday life, which is an ego stroke. Okay. Now, it's not much more to say because I see it's already the time's coming up. It's very important in two areas, more than any other area, that the man feels the ego stroke. Okay? In two very important areas, okay, and you can I'll just say them and you can work it out for yourself. And if it's not the case, then you're going to ask me the question: can I lie or pretend? Maybe we'll have to discuss that next week. This is how it's going to be. We'd rather get it done properly. Okay, what are the two areas? What would you say are the most two important areas? Men, you can speak up if you want. What are the two important areas a man has to really feel that he's the king? Okay, and she thinks he is the king. Okay?
To be the breadwinner?
I think in the Jewish community, it's the case. Yeah, that is the case, to be the breadwinner. Yeah, to be the breadwinner, or not necessarily to actually have to bring the money in, but actually to be able to create, you know, the dynamic in the house of how things are going to run. I'm saying it in a very I'm trying to say it in a very careful way. You know, it doesn't mean that every man has to earn more than his wife. It doesn't have to mean that at all. But he has to have the capability of running a house. You know, whether it's the finances, whether it's decision making. Halakha requires a man to be the posek of the house, right? To decide what to do. So when you say bringing money in, it's true. Normally I would say bringing money in is the case, but in our society, it's not necessarily that. A man can still be a man, even though it's not physically bringing the money. It's running the house. If he doesn't run the house, he doesn't deserve to feel that he's a man, right? He has to run the house to some degree. Yeah?
It's usually the woman's job to run the house.
I don't mean to go shopping and get the milk.
Yeah.
Maintain.
I mean the big decisions, right?
Yeah,
if a woman,
controlling decisions.
I'll tell you a story. There was a woman, I heard this really happen. I heard something actually on the radio. A woman rang and she said she had 2, I think, doctorates, if I'm not mistaken, right? Brilliant, you know, thinker, whatever, she academic, and she couldn't get a husband. She couldn't find a husband. No one was educated enough to be her husband. So she tore up all her certificates. She got a job in Tesco's filling shelves, right? And she got married, and she never told her husband ever, right, that she is an academic. And she's the happiest woman. So what she said on the first. I'm telling you for the first time, nobody knows that I've got 2 doctorates, but I'd never told my husband because I was scared it will threaten him. And if I threaten him, he feels threatened, he won't feel like a man, and I won't be happy because he'll be all the time challenging each other, right? So it's not necessarily that the man has to actually be the breadwinner. But when it comes to big decisions in the house, if the wife doesn't turn to the husband and say, look, what are we going to do halachically? We've got a question over here. What school are we going to send our kids to? What's your opinion? If he doesn't have an opinion that's going to be used, then he's not going to feel that he's a man. She's making all the decisions and not respecting him as a man. It's her duty to do that. That's what we're saying. The Contd was saying it today. She can't go and find someone to give him a job to bring in 200 grand a year, right? So that he'll feel that, right? that doesn't matter. What matters is that she makes him feel that he got in the 200 grand and he's able to make those decisions. He needs to respect him as a husband. Okay? That's the ego stroke. And that I absolutely agree. That is the one area where a man has to feel that the earning power, not necessarily, I'm saying again, that he got the actual salary in, but the earning power, how it's being used, how it's being, allocated. For example, a question of giving charity. Right? It's actually a real case that just happened recently. A man was earning a huge amount of money, and his wife was giving more than 10% to tzedakah. I mean, a huge amount of money. Okay? And it got to the point where he has no idea where his money's going. Right? And then they lost a lot of the money. He's not earning that money anymore. And so everyone's knocking on the door for their money, and they're cancelling all the direct debits. And she's still carrying on, thinking she can give money to tzedakah. Right? So I happened to be speaking to Rav Yaakov Hillel about it. What should we do? She said, what do you mean? A man has to decide at the end of the day, according to the halakha, the mitzvah of tzedakah. It doesn't mean a man is in charge and a woman doesn't have a say. It doesn't mean that at all. We're not talking about having a say. We're talking about a man making certain decisions in a Jewish home. In that context. Yeah? I would have just said earning power, but I wanted to expound on it a bit more because I think we need to qualify it a bit more. And in the past, I would say, yes, absolutely, it's earning power, that's enough. But it's not the earning power, it's not the money that you bring in. It's the decision making as a man. You have to work out in your hashkafa, your outlook, what you feel. You can discuss it as a husband and wife, because if you disagree on this, the children are not going to have a direct understanding of what your principles are. But usually they're very set areas where you think, okay, the man should decide that. Okay? Obviously the woman has to have a say, but I'm saying there are areas where the man, if he thinks it's something, now I can say it clear, if he thinks it's an area where a man should be making the decision, and she thinks it's not, then he's not going to feel like a man. That's the point. We're not saying who should win and who should lose. It comes to reconciling issues like that, you need a rabbi, you need an outlook. Okay? You need a mediator of some kind. I mentioned that last week. It's always good to have a mediator. You have to reconcile it. But here we're saying in the context, do you want your husband to be happy? Give him an ego stroke. When? Two major areas. One of them is that he feels he's a decision maker. He's a prime minister. If he never feels he's a prime minister, he's never going to be happy. He's never going to be happy. He's not going to have a happy marriage. And that woman realised, she tore up her academic credentials, threw them in the bin. Now he'll feel happy. But if he would know that I had that, he might feel threatened, then he won't feel happy, and then we'll have issues, and then everything will be an issue. So, understand? I'm not saying women should just become like a shmaltu, what do you call it, a rag. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that she should be clever to realise how to make him feel. Like the story of the woman that says, I always make my husband think that he made the decision. Right? Because women are very good at that. They're very good at making their husbands think that they made a decision and they got the right decision anyway, right? They know how to manipulate the situation, okay? The whole sugya in the Gemara about it. There's a whole Mishnah about whether a woman should learn Torah because of tiflut, and there's an opinion about how a woman knows. The Ben Ish Chai says it's because she knows how to use things to get what she thinks she should get, yeah? Which is fine if it's used in the right context. That's number one. Number two, who thinks they know what number two is? Right? So I'll tell you, it's intimacy. Yeah, in the area of the bedroom. Okay? I don't want to go into details. I'd like to do this. There's actually a session just on that. But in that area, a man, to be happy, wants to feel successful. If he doesn't feel successful in that area, if he hasn't learned that, if he hasn't been taught that before he got married, when I learn with guys before they get married, we spend a huge amount of time. That man understands how it's his duty that his wife has to be able to feel successful in that area, happy in that area. And if he doesn't know what to do, or if he doesn't achieve it, he's not going to be happy. He's not going to feel happy. It's a problem in the relationship. Okay, so enough said about that. We'll have to stop over here because of time. We'll just come back. This is only really one important point, but in order to do it properly, we need more time, so I'm going to stop here. But I'm going to say again, what should we do today? What should we do after this session? We've learned what makes a woman happy. We learned what makes a man happy. So as Ben-Tion said, we've got to start somewhere. Okay? The man has to do the 3 A's. So go even extra easier on him now in the beginning. If he does the tiniest thing about any one of those A's, A little bit of attention. Oh, you're the best husband in the world. You gave me attention. Can I make you a cup of tea? Can I make your favourite food? You make me feel so good, right? Okay, he's going to feel great. So, right, I'm going to give him more of that, okay? And now I'll try the next one, affection, right? So, let me put my hand on your shoulder. Let me just sort of, let's play a game together. Let's talk about things that are not important to me, right? And make you feel appreciated. Give me a boring topic, come on, let's just spend time together because you're going to tell me I'm the best husband in the world. I'm going to feel great, right? Simple, childish, but it works. That's the point of today. And if he doesn't do his job, and it irritates you as a woman because he's not doing his job, he's not giving you attention, affection, appreciation, don't sit there quietly for the rest of your life and wait for him to do it, because he's not going to do it. Because he's a man, we're going to see in the next session, please God, he doesn't get it. He doesn't know what you're feeling naturally. So you have to use a lot of words, but not like we're going to say that you just throw loads and loads of words and he forgets, the message gets lost in it. Tell him, look, I really want to make you feel that you're the greatest husband in the world and give you ego strokes. But I don't feel that you're fulfilling your job. You're not doing your job, like the rabbi said. Okay? I like you. I want to appreciate you, but do something so I can give you the reward, The reward is here, ready to be handed to you, right? But you have to express that to him and wake him up. The alarm bell has to sound, so he wakes up, do. Okay, yeah, all right, my job, attention, affection, appreciation, right? And then he'll do it. So when he doesn't do his job, give him a break. What's a break? The break is making it known to him that he can do a bit better, right? But not damaging him more. And give him a chance to do his job, and then he'll do his job, and then you can give him the ego stroke, and please God, marriage will be bliss. Okay, any questions? Any questions? You can ask me separately. I'm going to turn the camera off, and you're all free to go or stay.